You are listening to Ahraz Pod, a podcast by the Association of the Human Rights for the Azerbaijani People in Iran. I am Sina.
And I am Behzad.
We will be with you with the recent human rights violation reports for Azerbaijani people in Iran with our short informative podcasts. To get updates on human rights violations in Iran, please follow Ahraz's social media accounts. You are listening to Ahraz Pod. Hello everyone, this is the 6th episode of Ahraz, in which we are going to discuss the fair trials in Iran. We are going to see whether this fair trial process is implemented completely in Iran or not. We are going to specifically look at the case of Ruzbeh Piri, who was arrested a few months ago and got imprisoned and recently arrested to be taken to prison. Hello, Behzad. I want you to discuss Ruzbeh's case and give us information about the latest updates and what is the current situation on this issue.
Hello, Sina. Thank you for having me again. Today, I will give an update on Ruzbeh Piri's case. Ruzbeh is a student activist, Azerbaijani student activist. He graduated in computer engineering from Islamic Azad University of Tabriz. He is currently doing master's studies in law. His activities include being editor-in-chief of a student magazine. He got arrested about 4 months ago and detained for 17 days. And he got arrested based on his writings about history. Apparently, while the security agents were arresting him, they found some historical booklets that he wrote about history of Azerbaijan. Mm-hmm. In addition to that, they found a poster of another Azerbaijani political activist or human rights activist, Akbar Naimi, which he's also in prison right now because of his activities. In addition to these two, he got charged also based on the information he was sharing last year in the social media about his brother, Ruzbeh Piri, who got arrested last year and tortured by the security agents while they were arresting him. His brother, I remember last year, he got hospitalized because of the torture for several weeks. I have no update about his health situation right now, but I remember he was in a really, really bad situation. And his brother, Ruzbeh, now, since he was posting updates on his brother's case last year, he got charged based on his updates, his posts on social media as well. So his accusation is based on these three evidences, which is not enough evidence to charge a person. Mm-hmm. But in Iran, it's totally arbitrary. Mm-hmm. So his accusation is propaganda against the Islamic Republic of Iran and being a member in an illegal organization, which is not obvious what organization they are talking about. So he got charged by the Revolutionary Court of Tabriz for 6 years of prison based on these three insufficient documents or evidences. Later, Ruzbeh appealed the charge to the Appeal Court of Tabriz. Appeal Court of Tabriz reduced the charges to 3 years and 8 months of prison.
Do you think that the fact that he was sharing constantly in social media had any effect on his interrogation and the trial?
For sure, Sina. If we look at the case from the day he got arrested to the day he got charged and he got, arrested again by security agents in order to be sent to the prison, it took only 4 months. The whole process of court trials, appeal court trials, interrogations, all of them took only 4 months, which is not common in Iran. It seems they were in a hurry to charge him and it seems they were angry. They were mad about his posts from last year since he was actively posting about his brother and the tortures his brother was experiencing last year. And this kind of affected his case. So the whole process is really, it took really short from the day he got arrested to the day he got imprisoned.
Yeah, thank you. Because I asked this this question specifically because we got reports that 15 security forces arrested him on February 12th, 2022, in last month, which like 15 security forces for a peaceful human rights activist, ethno-linguistic rights activist is like kind of I don't know, it's not logical, it's not reasonable, and yeah, it shows that there is this some sort of resentment, anger towards him, and they wanted to charge him, before even getting arrested or being in trial process. That's why I asked the question. Thank you very much. And do you think that this trial process was fair? Can you give us updates regarding the access to lawyer? Like, did he have basic rights while being trialed in court?
See, now when we look at his case, we can say the trial was not fair. So apparently during the whole court sessions, he had only limited access to a lawyer, which is against the Iranian judicial laws, because every accused person has right to have full access to a lawyer. Mm-hmm. Because of this, it seems he didn't have fair trial, and the fair trial is not implemented in his case. Mm-hmm. And after trial, after getting charged by the Tabriz Revolutionary Court, they put him in the prison, not in the section specified for political prisoners. Instead, to give him a mental torture, they imprisoned him in a section for drug addicted and narcotics. Mm-hmm. They wanted to put him under some mental pressure. And right now, Ruzbeh is suffering from colorectal disease, and he's in a really serious situation, and he's in serious need of going to health center and getting checked by a doctor. But unfortunately, being in that section, he is not allowed, and so far he never had access to necessary treatments.
Another point that is against their own rules and regulations of Islamic Republic of Iran is that Iran's prison regulations are clearly indicating that the detention centers and prisons and supervision centers of the prisons must provide the conditions, medical conditions, and regular checkups on the basis of the request of the prisoner, which is this case is a clear violation of this fact. And considering that the digestion problem is a big health problem and is an immediate concern, we are facing here with a big issue, which is very sad. And also, in addition to this, as you say, the trials were not fair as well. I just want to add that looking through the regulations, we can see that a judge that is appointed in Islamic Republic should have certain criteria that is indicated in the law. And this is the religious law that I'm talking, which is being implemented in Iran, the Sharia law. And it clearly indicates that a judge must be a Muslim man who is bound to faith and is loyal to the principle of the primary of the supreme leader, which automatically, I guess, makes the person to be politically motivated or ideologically motivated, and kind of, just blocks the way for being objective, impartial throughout the judicial process or trial process. We can see that there are thousands of reports for corruption, bribery, abuse of power, arbitrary trials, as you mentioned. And we have some reports from Islamic Republic of Iran itself that the government is indicating that there are 3,275 complaints and reports in 2019. And between 2015 and 2018, there are about 28,000 inspectors visiting the detention centers, prosecution offices, prisons. But Islamic Republic of Iran, although they say that, okay, we got reports and complaints and inspections, there is no result of they did not report any result of these reports, like, or any immediate actions, or what were the results of inspections that went through between 2015 and 2018, which again kind of blocks this transparency and obscures what is going on in the prison in Iran, which I guess we can make another podcast on about the prisoners' situation by discussing the cases of Alireza Farshi or Abbas Lesani in the next upcoming weeks, to clarify the issue that not just a fair trial, but the prison itself, that the situation of the prisoners in prison is also very concerning.
Actually, in Iran, we don't have independent judicial system. So the law is implemented and enforced by a supreme force, and we don't have an independent judicial system. And that's why any political prisoners who is criticizing the government and the system, the system in power in Iran, by default, they're gonna be charged by the government, and there is no fair judicial system to protect their rights. So whatever the government is accusing these political prisoners, the judicial system is approving and charging these political prisoners based on the accusations that the government and the system is making. A lot of political prisoners are suffering from this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're totally right. After considering, for example, Ruzbeh Piri's case or the previous cases, we talked about Akbar Naimi today and previously in the podcast as well, we can see what you are actually saying. We can clearly observe what you are saying. And also the bureaucracy in Iran gives the frontline bureaucrats a new dimension of discretion, that they have the power to do kind of anything they want arbitrarily. And this leads to a new dimension of corruption, which can not be regulated at all. Of course, this stems from the fact that there is a supreme power, and there is a fear to this, in relation to this supreme power, which we can discuss it in the next podcast in details. And thank you very much, Behzad, for discussing and sharing this information. So please share our podcast if you liked it, and put your comments and suggestions below the posts that we are sharing this podcast. We believe that without respect for human rights and freedom of nations, peace cannot be achieved.